So I'm doing this video for the ones that have gone through the discard, narcissistic discard. Is it hard, painful? Yes, it is. Like any other breakup. The narcissist doesn't live permanently. They live temporarily. It depends on what temporary means for you. Maybe a week or two, maybe a month, maybe a year, maybe two, can be more. But when you're dealing with a narcissistic individual, you best believe they are not going anywhere anytime soon. So they have simply identified somebody else that might probably provide a certain level of supply. And they're going to run off to that particular individual, but they still do want you back. So it's going to be a matter of time before that narcissist will swing back into your life. And this is for a very particular reason that we're going to discuss in this video. Grand rising, everyone. Hope you guys are okay. Hope you're doing well, and I hope everything is going as planned. This is Denzomus, and you are welcome to the channel of truth, enlightenment, freedom, and the channel of breaking impasse free. If you are new on this channel, I talk about narcissism and narcissistic abuse. I talk about spirituality. I talk about personal and self-development. And if that's what resonates with you, I invite you guys to join us, give us a like, share this video with friends, and you may subscribe if you haven't already. And for those that have always been with us, you are welcome back, and I thank you for your love and support. I'm doing this video per request. I was asked as to why that particular individual that someone left so many years ago eventually is showing up back into their lives. They are confused. They don't know what they need to do, and that is what we are going to discuss in this video. Personally, I fell for that trap, okay? I have been hoovered once. I wasn't educated back in the days. Yes, I wasn't educated about narcissistic abuse. I didn't know who a narcissist was. And I went through the same series of events. I was discarded, and eventually, a couple of, I think it was probably 2, maybe more months, I was hoovered back in the relationship, okay? And then during the first hoover, when I got hoovered, that is the moment when I received my spiritual awakening, and then eventually I was able to walk away permanently from a narcissistic person. What does the narcissist want from you? The narcissist wants a lot of things. Yes, they want your supply. They need validation. They need so many things. They have a lot of things that they need from you, and they need that supply. It doesn't even matter who is providing the supply. As long as they know you are a source of supply, then they are going to attach themselves to you. You're most likely an empathic person. You're most likely a person who has got something to offer. So that's the reason why they're in your life, because there is something they need from you. When they get attached to you, you are going to become something they call the grade A supply. You're the one that is going to provide that form of supply that they really desire to have. And that entanglement or situationship is going to last for as long as it can take. It may last months, sometimes it may last years. Most likely when it comes to a narcissist, this whole thing can go on for years. The only reason why it may last a few months is because you have nothing much to offer. So they don't have any particular use for you, and they're going to get you out of the way and find somebody that can provide that supply that they need. When they get entangled in that relationship, it is going to take a very long period of time, and they're going to be fishing a lot of supply from that particular individual. Now, you see, usually when it comes to a person that is providing that supply, we're talking about you, who is the grade A supply, you will go through a very long series of abuse, trauma, manipulation, gaslighting, blame shifting, and all those words that follow. And it is going to take you a lot of time, so many years, before you might at one point realize you're going through abuse, narcissistic abuse in particular. But you see, you are a giver, and the narcissist is a taker. You are giving, so they are taking. And you can only give enough until you realize there is pretty much nothing left to give. You are burnt out, you are exhausted, you are so tired, and you really want to quit. You want to call it quits. Before you call it quits, the narcissist will be the first to know that you're running low on supply, because they can no longer get that supply they used to get from you when it was the beginning of that relationship. And then eventually they are going to come up with a plan and try to get rid of you. But they're going to do this in bits. So in other words, because you cannot provide the supply that this narcissist needs, the narcissist will now look outside of that relationship for an alternative source of supply. When they find that particular individual that they feel may have some supply to offer, they are now going to start planning that exit from that relationship. It is going to be bits by bits. They may now start to go into the devaluation stage, where they are going to devalue you. Nothing you're doing is enough. They're going to start blaming you for everything. They're going to start fighting around, causing these unusual fights around that environment. And then eventually they're going to be preparing you for the discard. While they are devaluing you, they are grooming that new supply and preparing those individuals. Should you walk out of the way, or they get out of the way, they're going to be able to go into a new relationship as soon as they can. The narcissist isn't planning to abandon you because eventually they are tired of you, or eventually they realize that you're not good for them or something like that. They are just trying to plan their exit because they feel they can no longer get the supply they used to get way back in time in those years. So when the discard happens, the narcissist is going to gravitate very fast and go and bring in the new supply. Is why sometimes you might see it has been just 2 days, maybe 24 hours, maybe a day, even sometimes it could have been hours. And out of the blue, realizing that you've been in a relationship with somebody for a couple of years, they have dumped you on the roadside, they're in a new relationship within a matter of minutes, hours, even sometimes it could be days. There is something you need to understand, ladies and gentlemen. The person that they have chosen over you, it doesn't necessarily mean that those people are better than you. It is just because at that particular time, those individuals, they are also green, so they do not know what is going on. They are also going to go through the same series of abuse like you have done, because it is not going to change. It's just going to be a repeated pattern, even in the new relationship. So they found somebody that is easier, okay? Somebody who doesn't know what is going on, somebody who doesn't even probably know anything about abuse. They have never been in an abusive relationship before. So they are going to be in that relationship for some time. And then eventually, they are going to also burn out at some point. It depends on the individual they have met. But most likely, it always, usually, not always, usually happens that the narcissist may also go for a person that is a lower grade than he was. You will always be the grade A. The person that has come in is the grade B supply, and they're just grooming that person to become a grade A supply. Now, eventually, it is just going to be a matter of time before that narcissist will realize that they are probably could have done a mistake, or it's probably there is pretty much nothing they can get out of that person. Because you see, these people like checking the waters. When a narcissist is leaving a relationship, they're not going to give you closure. So they don't want to tell you what exactly was happening, or they don't want to explain a lot of things, because when they do explain these things, it is going to give you a lot of closure, which will be enough for you to permanently check out of that relationship. That's why they don't give you the closure. So they will put you on the side temporarily, and they're going to run off to somebody else and try to check out what is going on. Maybe that person can be a potential source of supply for them. And eventually they may realize at some point that this particular individual that they have chosen over you probably is even worse than you. It's just going to be a matter of time. Is why I've said, yes, not all supply is bad supply. They may sometimes run into a good supply. But the reason why the narcissist is coming back, swinging back into your life, and maybe they are trying to hover you after a couple of weeks, maybe sometime months, even sometime years, it is because they have realized their particular person they have gone for, the grass wasn't greener. They thought that this was going to be better than it was, but they're realizing that probably it's not worth it. And at the same time, they are feeling like you being away for quite a long period of time, it is also going to enhance your healing process. And you may sometimes get too healed, whereby you may not be able to return or to take them back in. So now they're looking back and they're feeling like they need to come in. Yes, you have done some healing during that process. It could have been a month or two, like I've said, but you may not have fully healed out of that energy, whereby they can still at least tap into your energy and get back into your life. So that's when now the narcissist will remember that they need to take you back in before time runs out for them. When it comes to a narcissistic discard, you guys need to understand something. It is not the narcissist who permanently discards you. A narcissist is not wired to permanently discard you out of their lives. The discard is always temporary. It is you who actually decides. It is you who determines that the discard has become permanent, depending on some reasons, maybe some findings you could have figured out about that individual. Like for me, for example, I figured out that this particular individual was a narcissist. I educated myself about the cycles and about how they move and all the patterns and everything. And I figured out that this is how this whole thing was working. So I was able to permanently shut that door, okay, from that particular individual. And yes, if you ask me, the Hoovers came. But in that moment, I'd already decided that this was a permanent situation and I wasn't going back there. For the most of you guys who have done the mistake of taking back that particular narcissist, you know that you have paid the price. It has just been a matter of a day or two. Maybe it could have been a week of a bit of love bombing and, all this stuff. And then eventually you have actually gone back into the same cycle of abuse that has tortured you for a long period of time. So there are people who have also realized that they have been away from the narcissist. It has been like, for example, 2 years. It has been a very long time. They have way long time forgotten about that individual, only for them to figure out it has been so many years later down the road, and they have received a call from that individual. Oh, how are you? Maybe I was around town. If you want, you can come around and say hi, or maybe there is some belongings you left at the house. You want to come and pick up the belongings or things like that. So they are finding a way to get you a little bit engaged, and they want you to show up. And when you show up, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the beginning of the Hoover. So those are the signs that the narcissist is trying to Hoover you. If they reach out to you after a very long period of time, even after you finding out that they have already met somebody else, most likely they've been showing you a lot of these pictures on social media. You've been seeing their photos. You've been seeing what they are doing. They've been showing it out there to everybody else to see. And then eventually you see them coming back. It means that that particular relationship they got involved with, it is not working out, and they're realizing you are the best supply. It has nothing to do with you loving them, or maybe they have realized they made a mistake. Of course, they're going to come around and, they may shed a tear or two. They may try to beg. They may, put a lot of shows, crocodile tears and everything. I'm sorry. Maybe now I realize it was a mistake. It has nothing to do with that. The narcissist has not loved you from day one. Ladies and gentlemen, I shouldn't be the one to tell you this. They have not loved you. They only loved the supply that you could offer. And now they're realizing that that supply that they had for a very long period of time, that supply is actually really disappearing, and they are feeling like you're really gravitating away from them. It is going to make them realize that they need to pull you back. So they are only pulling you back so that you can actually get back into the abusive cycle. Because for a narcissist to be able to function properly, they need a sustainable source of supply. If they cannot find that anywhere else, or even if they have discarded you and thought they had found it somewhere else, they realize that that particular individual is not working out, and that's the reason why they are now returning. They are going to hoover and they're going to recycle their old source of supply, which is you. What do you do in this kind of scenario when you have gone through a narcissistic discard? It is very important for you to understand that when you have gone away and you have left a narcissist, you have got to stop all forms of contact with those people. It is going to be hard, yes. It is going to be hard to permanently cut contact with those people. Sometimes you have ties with them. Maybe you have a family, you have kids, maybe you have a mortgage, maybe you have credit in the bank, loans, or things like that. So sometimes you may every now and then swing back and forth in that relationship, because there's still some things you need to take care of. But you have got to be doing the work to heal yourself. You see, when you have done a lot of work on yourself to heal, you're going to reach a point where you are going to actually vibrate out of that energy. You have been going through a lot of pain, abuse, manipulation, torture, and everything. So it has been a very low vibrational energy to be. When you have gone out there and you have decided and chosen to do the healing work on yourself, you will vibrate out of that energy. In other words, it is going to be the only way you are going to resist that Hoover should it come, because I can promise you, and I can guarantee you this from experience, the narcissist isn't gone permanently. They have just temporarily put you somewhere on the shelf, and they're hoping that one day they're going to come back and recycle their old sources of supply. It is why sometimes you see a lot of narcissists have got old contacts of their exes in their phones. Oh, we still talk a little bit. We are still friends. They like to use that words. They are still the friends, and every now and then you're talking to them and stuff like that. So they don't really get rid of their exes, okay? If you've got a person who has been broken away for a couple of months, and you're seeing them every now and then, they're checking their phones, maybe they're receiving a message or two from their exes, then you may actually believe that there's going to be time. Those people are actually preparing for that moment to come. They know there's going to come where they are going to be able to hoover back those sources of supply. And there is something else I want you to understand. The narcissist is watching you. You have been away. It's been years. Let me promise you, every single day, that narcissist is going to go and dig through your social media accounts. They're going to use your fake profiles. They are very interested in your new jobs. They are so much interested in your business. They want to know who you're dating at the moment, what is going on in your life. So they're actually keeping a tab on you. If they're not able to do that, they're going to find somebody else who is going to keep an eye on you. So they normally keep an eye on you because they want to keep updated on your current situation or what is going on, because they need to have the proper window open should the time reach where they're going to be able to hoover you. Like I've said, very important for the survivors and victims to go out there and heal, do the healing work on yourself, educate yourself. One of the things I had to do for the longest period of time in my life was to heal and educate myself on narcissistic abuse and understand how these people operate, because you can only beat a narcissist when you understand how their mind works and how they operate and all the patterns, and you can register and recognize their behavior. Then that is the only way you're going to be able to protect yourself from that individual. When the hoover comes, ladies and gentlemen, it's going to be a no. You're not going to fall for those hoovers, and you will know when they're trying to come back into your life. It is the only way you're going to be able to permanently detach and break away from that narcissist for good. And I can promise you this, the narcissist is not ready for that, and they won't see that coming. I hope this video has motivated you and you know what to do. Let us know what you think about the video in the comment section below. You guys know I do love and appreciate your support. Please book a session. You may donate or support my channel if you want to. Everything you need, you will find it in the description below. And until then, I will catch you guys in my next one. Denzo Moses signing out. Much love and blessings. Peace.